isn't gonna want me.
Papa's getting wasted tonight.
I am completely out of ammo.
Cross my heart, smack me dead, stick a lobster on my head.
The situation has indeed worsened. You think?
And when I return, I'm gonna drink a bottle of scotch, as if it were Chicky von Richthofen's blood, and celebrate.
Afraid we're at an impasse. You really are filthy.
And fine.
Come upstairs and see my etching.
Welcome back, everybody, to another round of Nostalgia TV. That's right, we are the Graveyard Shift of forgotten television shows, and while this one may not be terribly forgotten, it was, in our opinion, improperly canceled by Netflix, but welcome to Netflix. That's what they do to shows. If you ain't scoring the points for them right away, they are kicking your ass out the door. So, Kevin, we are doing the Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, and what did you think? Was this your first time watching it, or is this your second?
This was my first watch through. I did not watch this when it first came out.
Okay.
Out of Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, Labyrinth was always my favorite. I think we talked about it last night. I haven't watched the movie nearly as often as I've seen Labyrinth. Like I watch Labyrinth all the time, once every couple months or every few weeks. But this, I didn't want to see something that was so good get tarnished, least of all on Netflix. So I didn't really watch it. And I knew it was supposed to be good. I heard people saying great things about it. But it just escaped me, and I never got around to it. There was never any animosity to it. Nothing bad. I just didn't get around to seeing it. And I guess in a way I regret it, but it was worth the wait.
Oh, yeah. And for me, I mentioned this on one of our previous shows. I don't know if it was last night. It was probably last night, but the last time I watched this was basically when it aired. And Amy and I had watched the Dark Crystal movie going into it. In hindsight, maybe we should have watched the show first, then watched the movie, because this does serve as a prequel show to it. So anybody who's unaware of this, it is still available on Netflix. They still have an agreement with it and have the license on it. And if you're looking for a physical media release, you will not find it. So screw you, Netflix, and all the properties you do that to. There's a reason why bootleggers out there still make money. Thank you, Amazon Prime. Thank you, Netflix. Thank you, all of you that don't release your shit on physical media. That being said, I did watch this first time, and Amy and I binged the damn thing in basically like a weekend. We did it in 2 days, and we absolutely enjoyed it. We enjoyed it so much that we named one of our pets after one of the characters in the show.
I was going to ask.
Yep, our German Shepherd dog is named Tavra. She is a sweet girl, and she fits the name of the character, so to speak, in this show. So we absolutely adore her, and we absolutely adore the character. And it's a fun time with this show. And then rewatching it again was just, oh, this is good. This is like comfort. You know, like they don't make shows like this quite like this anymore. Rings of Power wishes it was as good as this show. This is basically as close as you'll get to a Lord of the Rings adjacent show you will ever find. And it's not even Lord of the Rings. It's just got maybe some voice actors that appeared in that and in Game of Thrones. For the curious, Lena Headey is in this one. So Queen Cersei from Game of Thrones, everybody. And Mama from Judge Dredd. Or Dredd 2012.
I think she was also the evil queen in the Brothers Grimm. I think.
I don't remember enough to know that. Maybe one of our fine live viewers will correct us on that.
Or tell us, why do you know that, Kevin? I like that movie.
Booberific.
Booberific.
Well, thank you, everybody that is tuning in. Please hit the like button. We would greatly appreciate it. It helps with the algorithm. And also subscribe down below, hit the bell notification. And since we are live, if you got some comments, we might just feature them and read them. Or if you got any questions, throw them in. Like to interact with everybody. So that being said, Kevin, what are your thoughts about this show?
Breathtaking. Like the average score for this each episode, I think, is like 8.5, 8.7.
Was that on IMDb or what were you looking at?
That was on IMDb. That was like, I want to say that's about the average per episode. It's none of them are 7s. They're all 8s. I don't think we've ever watched a show rated so high before. And it's neat. What I got to do is I binged it in 2 days, just like you did. And then I capped it off with the movie. And oh man, did that just kind of feel right? It really did. I had a little bit of trouble with it going in.
Oh, like the first episode or something?
Yes, because it was part of the stigma of why I didn't watch it to begin with. Because nothing in the movie or nothing in the show matters. Nothing matters whatsoever. All these people are gonna die. So
welcome to prequels, everybody. They tend to provide their own set of problems logistically wise, and then things that don't make sense then open themselves up to further plot holes of, well, why didn't this also happen? And later on, just look at George Lucas and the prequel trilogy versus the original trilogy. There's plenty of plot holes and character inconsistencies.
But it's okay because they're all pretty good anyway, so you just kind of roll with it.
Well, yeah, especially when Anakin is a very young, spry 12-year-old when he starts getting actually attracted to Padme. Kind of weird. It's so weird, especially in Phantom Menace. I hate to go off on a tangent, but that's what we do around here. But like in the Phantom Menace, eventually he and her are gonna hook up, and it's like somebody has a mommy complex.
Ew.
A little bit. But no, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You were talking about like what you were thinking about here.
Oh, it's really intense. Like you are not bored at any given point in time in this show. I kept telling my wife, I wish you could watch puppet features. Like you could watch the Muppets. She doesn't like puppetry. Like MST, not so much. Riff Tracks, she likes. Ish. She likes the people.
Ish. Yeah.
Ish. Yeah. But I told her, I'm like, I wish you could get past that. I'm like, because this is a really good show. I'm like, it is so relevant. It means so much in so many different levels. And then again, it recreates the original fantasy. So you've got this wonderful ass story, this complex interweaving web of a story, and then you have a beautiful art set at the same time, and they've recreated this art set just to look the exact same way as everything did back in 1982, and it's just fucking breathtaking. It really is.
Yeah, a lot of the cinematography is absolutely stunning, and then whatever they're mixing from live to CGI is very seamless, except for a handful of things that are like, yeah, I know that's CGI, but there's times it's like, wow, that's really gorgeous. Like you can literally take snapshots of about any number of like 50 scenes in every episode and make them a wallpaper on a computer, and somebody would be like, that's an awesome wallpaper. Where did you find that? Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. Because everything just scenic wise in the way it looks, the production values on this are completely crazy. Now, the budget on this was about $100 million for 10 episodes. But if you break that down, you basically get like 3 movies out of this show.
Yeah.
If you break it down. And for that kind of cost, like that's actually pretty damn all right. As far as as a TV show, that's $10 million an episode. But when you phrase it out as a movie, it's like 100 million. That's a hell of a good investment in a show, especially on a good quality like this is.
Absolutely. I mean, compare that to oh god, what was that show? Acolyte. Acolyte wasted so much fucking money with less episodes.
$150 million, you got the Acolyte. For that much, we could get 2 more seasons and a half for Dark Crystal. Hell, you could give each season a $25 million bump, and we would still get 20 more episodes of Dark Crystal. Come on.
Yep. And I wish this was one of those situations where Shout Studios could fund another season, but their studio just isn't there yet. That's not what they're doing.
Well, and the license to this is, since
Netflix.
it's still streaming on Netflix probably gets first right of refusal, and they probably got a lock on the license, just like Amazon Prime has a lock on seasons 4 through 6 of basically The Expanse, all seasons of Stargate, other than prior existing agreements to other places. So there's probably something to exclusivity, and there's quite a few things on Netflix that you'll just never see anywhere other than Netflix, and they want that on purpose. But this was critically well received. You were just talking about the ratings, and the people that did get into it, like an actual audience, all of us loved the show, or at least liked the show. I don't know literally anybody who's seen the show who has said it's okay or it was terrible. It's all, no, I liked it, to I absolutely loved it. And there is a fan base out there. There's groups on Facebook. There's I should probably check Twitter. I didn't, but there's probably a handle or a community out there on Twitter too, because this is from 2019. And it's not that long ago, but it's already, technically it's now 6 years, but it was 5 years ago when this came out. And it found an audience. It's just not as much as Netflix really wanted, because ultimately what they canceled this show for was high production costs and not bringing in enough subscribers to warrant a second season. This is the problem with streaming services, everybody. They look at analytics like minutes and how many subscribers a show in particular brings in to see if it warrants another season or not. And if not enough people are finishing the show, that also plays into the factor as well. Like, if for 100% that start the first episode, how many of them stick around for the last episode? I can almost promise you for this show, of the 100 people that started on episode 1, I would almost say 85% of those finished the show.
I would think.
If not more, because this is 10 episodes, and most people who are Dark Crystal fans tuning in probably absolutely love this, because it's also based off of a book series a little bit. So there is existing lore. So they were adapting something that Jim specifically put together.
Yeah, and they did a very good job with it. So, I mean, 85%, that's being modest. I mean, I would reckon...
That's speculation. I don't know for a fact, but...
Yeah, I would say it's probably much higher, just considering how exciting this gets, especially from, and we'll get onto the breakdown, but from like episode 6 on, they're just fucking running. Like, they hit that ground and they go. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, they do. Like, it takes about maybe 30 minutes ish while they're establishing like Rian and Mira, and then some of the other characters like the 3 sisters. You got Brea, you got Tavra, and then I have to always like look up the third one.
Celadon?
Yeah, Celadon or
Yeah.
Celador. Yeah, she's crazy bitch, but it works out in the show very well. And they establish a bunch of characters. Like, that's probably one of the things with this show that really adds to its value is the number of characters, number of plots that they interject, and they all come together, make sense. It's well written, but there's enough characters in this to make you be like, Kevin, I'm pulling up the cast list here, and I'm counting one, two, I'm counting like 36 to 40 voice actors. So that what does that tell you for number of characters in this? And all of them, for the most part, have decent roles in this. From Lena Headey to Natalie Dormer, Mark Strong, Eddie Izzard, Andy Samberg. You got like Ralph Ineson, Benedict Wong. You got Jason Isaacs. You got Sigourney Weaver. Like, you can go round and round and round with this show. Like, we got a lot of characters, but it also provided opportunities for an excellent cast, and they did.
Yeah, they really did. So there was one bit of casting that I questioned, but it
Mark
worked
Hamill
out
for me.
Oh no, God, I loved Mark in this. He was
He
great.
sounded like the fucking Joker in this. That was my only problem with this show, honestly.
That is his voice. That's just the way his voice goes.
When he's trying to do Joker.
Well, when he does Joker, he's impersonating what's his name? Claude Rains. And so he does his own voice and impersonates Claude Rains. And so he was kind of doing that with this. Yes, I can most certainly hear it. But that is just Mark's voice when he's shouting in a way. Yeah, it's I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but other than that, like, the cast is pretty on point. But like all the characters, and there's none that I would say I didn't like at all. They all fit for what they were trying to do in this show, and I enjoyed it. So
for me, it was Taron Egerton. Like I kept hearing the gorilla from Sing. I just wanted to hear him start singing fucking I'm Still Standing.
Which one did he play?
Rian.
Oh, Rian. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen that, so I didn't really know.
Don't bother with the second one. It's as good as Miss Congeniality 2. But the first Sing's really fun. It's good.
Okay. All right. I was more interested in listening to Anya Taylor-Joy as Bria, but
yeah, so funny that they just put her in the movie. Like they didn't give her like a puppet representation. They just put her in the movie with the puppets.
Well, she could have like slipped in under the mask and it still would have formed to her face, you know. Just saying.
She is the Gelfling, people. We're saying it.
Yeah, just about. Now, did you like any of the characters in particular,
Yeah.
or did you basically like all of them for what they were doing?
Oh goodness, I'd say I like everybody. Like there was really no bad characters in this at all. I gotta go to the guy that scared me the most as a kid, the Chamberlain.
Love Chamberlain.
Totally blown away that was Simon Pegg. Totally.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because the Chamberlain sounded exactly the same as he did back in 1982. Like Pegg did a fucking phenomenal job. Like my hat tips to him so well.
I almost want to ask him, were you a fan of the original? Because you certainly like nailed that. Or were you listening to tapes or just rewatching the movie and being like practicing while you're doing that?
Oh, and that sound is just, it's ingrained into my soul. It gives me goosebumps when I hear it, just from when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, I need therapy now.
You can't even do it.
No, I can't, because I get Mr. Herbert stuck in my head. Like, that's gonna feel good. Better go outside and make your peeps and poops. That's gonna feel good for Jesse.
Yeah, Chamberlain really worked for me very well. And the other one that really stood out for me was a newer character, and that was the Hunter. Absolutely loved that character. Such a total badass for a Skeksis, and totally crazy in his own particular way, just like the heretic and like some of these other characters. So I really enjoyed some of the newer ones they interjected here.
The hunter was fun. That was a really fun addition.
That was dope.
Yeah, because and you can't be like, well, where did he come from? They made it up. It's bullshit. Just because he wasn't mentioned in the first movie doesn't mean he didn't exist. They just didn't mention him.
Well, and they use that effectively in their writing of this show. Like, whatever you think of the movie, of course, that's the end goal. That's where things end up. But they introduce a lot here, and it's like, by the time you get to the end of the season, you start to feel, okay, this is making sense why this character isn't around. This is why this plot device isn't around. But you're also left with understanding, oh, we got a couple MacGuffins here that just played a role in ending this first season. What happens to them? Well, we never got a second season because they had one planned. But I would honestly feel that with a second season, they would have resolved some of those and explained why they weren't around, because after the events of this show, it's going to be years before we get to the point of the events of the movie.
I don't think so. I think it all happened very quickly. I think these things were just young. These Gelflings were very young. It may have happened like Star Wars, where there's like 10 to 20 years in between, like episode 3 and 4. I don't think it was that long at all. I used to think so, but I don't think it was that long at all. I think they were just the last Gelflings from all these tribes, because they talk about having clans, and
but then they're all relatively wiped out in the show. So
Yeah.
And then you also have to lose their memory. So you're talking at least 3 generations. That would be over 100 years at least. Because when they're going through the stone temples that are crumpled and overgrown in the movie, like that does not take place over the course of 30 years. That takes 100 years at least. Although, to be fair, this is an alien world. We do not necessarily know the course of time on here because we got 3 suns to deal with. So I don't know. You go around one sun, you go around the other, then you do do a little spinny loop around the third one, and time reverses. I don't know.
Touch your finger on your nose when they all touch. Boop.
I think we need to get a Superman in here to rewind time for half of this.
Oh, now I've got Cher stuck in my head. If I could turn back time.
Demonetized, and we lose a viewer.
Dang it all.
Nah, but with the complexity of the plot going on here and how it tied into the movie, did you feel like that was all right by you? I mean, we were just alluding to how it could possibly tie into the movie, but did you at least appreciate that, or what did you think?
They gave this so much more meat and potatoes than what the movie had, and the movie already had meat and potatoes to it.
It almost feels like the movie's like the footnote to this story now.
Yes, and they gave it such history. The clans, by the time you meet the clans, they already have history. So there's history on there's history on top of history. They did a fantastic job with it. Mike just fucking derailed me. Killed my train of thought.
I'm sorry. We're live. We're interjecting. But no, like you were saying, there's a lot of meat and potatoes on this. Like you got the machinations and political intrigue of the Skeksis and their infighting. There was a lot more to it here than it was in the movie. It also provides a basis for some of the relationships in the movie and how they've evolved over the years. And then you also we're finally getting to explore the world of Thra, and things have names. There's more creatures. And you're getting a lot more of like basically everything. 7 clans, the different creatures that I was just talking about. It just really opens up the world entirely. Like it's not just this little continent. It feels like the whole globe, even though it's just focused on one little continent. It would make you wonder, hey, I wonder how much more is actually around this world or how big this world really is. And I appreciate that a lot.
If you're a mystic, it doesn't matter. It's a long trip.
Yep. As evidenced by one line in here, they reference that the mystics are in a place, special place. They're in hiding until their time is needed, and they will show up when they damn well please. But you do meet about 2 mystics in here, so you will at least get to see a little bit of that.
You see the hunter and the
The
heretic.
heretic. Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you're wondering where the mystics at, they're in here too. But I liked it when they went to the Crystal Desert. That was really cool and a nice change of pace.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty as hell too.
God, yeah, and then the flying like stingray or whatever it was. That was pretty rad.
That was cool.
Yeah, so if you're a big fan of Dark Crystal, like you will understand that you gotta understand this since it's a newer show, they definitely made use of CGI for quite a bit of things and to help their puppetry. But they did use puppetry and practical wherever they could. But they were trying to make this more epic, more expansive. Certainly came across that way, so it definitely feels like a much bigger world.
Well, it's okay that they use CGI. It's okay that they use green screen because like or shadow puppeting, that is I believe what it's called. It's truly still an art form, and the CGI isn't driving the movie, it's just accenting it. The puppets drive the movie. Like totally. The CGI is just a garnish.
Yeah.
So
and at least it's done supremely well. I was pretty actually pleased with it. There's, like I said, there's only like maybe a time or two where it's like, yeah, that's pretty fake, but whatever.
well, I was trying to show somebody that I take care of what I was watching and what we're working on this week, and he didn't like the animation to it. And I said, well, my friend, I said, that's not animation. I said, this is Jim Henson puppetry. I said, you will not see finer magic on TV anywhere. Like this is the master crafters doing their master work. I said, all of this is puppets. Like we all point out when there's CGI or just computer generated stuff to you. And I sat there and I held the phone for a good 5 minutes at least before I was like, oh yeah, that's just something there. It's not, like you said, something flying.
Yeah, flying, or it's like the automobile carriage with the 3 snail whales. Or snail wheels, not whales.
Those are cool.
Yeah, I like those. I hated the fact that they were being like electrocuted just to stop them and start them. But I also liked it when they freed like the 3 of them and broke off from the carriage and they started riding around like they were just single unicycles or whatever.
That was cool.
There's a lot of cool moments and touches in this show. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's like Agra says, all these creatures are coming together because they realize they all have a common enemy, and like the whole world that's usually at odds with each other is now becoming one to fight, and it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we watched this after V, because this is very much a I don't want to say a ripoff or homage, but this has so many parallels to V, the miniseries. And I say that in a good way and with respect, because that was very complicated. That showed how easily human beings can be deceived by outsiders, and it happened, and that's what this is about. Agra, like the whole world of Thra, starting from Agra down, gets deceived by the Skeksis.
Yep. Here's a shiny toy, Agra. We're giving you an oculary so you can travel the far reaches of space with your unconscious mind and leave your body behind. We'll take care of this place. Second she's gone, yep, bitch gone. Let's party.
Get the pinata stick. Woo!
Tequila, margarita.
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun.
dun. Tequila. But no, yeah, that I like that aspect too. And then you have to deal with Agra and how she feels about like the whole world. Like she let everybody down on her watch. She allowed herself to get manipulated like that. And from that point on, the Skeksis just love to play and sow discord amongst everybody, separate everybody, give them a reason to not like each other and just keep each other at a distance. And then by the end of the season, you end up seeing everybody coming together being, you know what, we all got played. We all got played. Even the what were they called? The
Aratham?
Arathan, yeah, because then they got played a second time, and then they all started joining forces. All the creatures, all the Gelflings. It would have been nice to see more about the. God damn it! Sorry, I have to keep looking at this. There's a lot of things in this show, but how they made the Garatham with the Grums.
Oh, see, that would have been cool.
Yeah, well, they showed that as one of the final scenes of the Grathan at
Yeah.
the very end. So you finally get to see that at the very, very end. It's the last shot of the show. We have created an army.
That wasn't lost on me. I totally dug that. And see, and that was one of the parts that made me think, okay, this is maybe 20 years after the end of the first or second season. I still think it could be. I hope. I don't know, because if these were babies,
Groot.
they would have not known their culture.
Yep.
So I don't know. What's her name? The girl.
Which girl?
Jesus. You know what? I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
Kira in the first one.
Oh, yeah. Because then we have Mina in this one, and she's like toast by the end of the episode. So
yeah, she's the one that points out, of course I have wings. I'm a girl. So she must know that Gelfling girls have wings.
yeah. Well, they actually delineate that very well in this show. They make things very clear, like this is known information. This is known information. It's not condescending or anything. It just feels like, you know, this is the way of the world, and they're bringing us along to bring us up to speed, especially for any new viewers that hadn't seen the movie.
Yeah.
At least this show is going to take at least a moment to explain very important things that should be known. And eventually they get to the crystal shard itself needs to be replaced inside the big giant, you know, the actual crystal. And then they leave that alone. It's just a little nugget of information somewhere in the middle of the show. And then at the very end with the glaive, after using the double glaive, the crystal comes out of the pommel. So it's actually really cool that they integrated it like that. Like, hey, when are we going to get to that? Oh, there it is.
There it is.
There it isn't.
Yeah, and that and the draining of essence. And
how that evolved.
It didn't take too long, but yeah, there was an evolution of it between them just trying to take power from the crystal, them praying to the crystal, hopefully getting something from it, to then accidentally experimenting on it and having it going from suck to blow. You know, they kept fucking up with it.
Yep. And even if at some point, like even the scientist basically tells the emperor, like, we shouldn't be doing this. This is going to drain the crystal. We're going to wipe this thing out. We're going to kill everybody. Like, this is madness. And eventually they all succumb to it anyway. It's basically the essence is some awesome ass drug that heals them, makes them feel young, vibrant, and strong, and no longer oozing pus out of their pustules or whatever.
Their snouts.
Oh my god, that girl. I forgot what her name was.
The Collector.
Yeah, she kept bopping her damn zits and whatever on her nose.
That was Aquafina. And once I knew it, like I couldn't unhear it. And I was like, oh my God. Like I could just see her in my head making faces in the booth. Oh my God.
I'm willing to bet the whole cast had a fun time actually reading the lines for this, being like, this is kind of fun, actually. I wouldn't be surprised.
Was there anyone that you didn't recognize their voice, or were you pretty much like, oh yeah, my keen ears got this shit?
Well, I really don't. I'm not that familiar with like Aquafina. The one I didn't hear, but when I saw the name, I was like, really? I don't remember that from the last time I watched this. Was Jason Isaacs as the Emperor?
Yeah, I don't hear it.
That one just threw me for a freaking loop. I'm like, everybody else I can kind of hear. So I saw names. I'm like, yeah, I think I know who that is. The Emperor? Nope. And that was low-key one of the best villain characters in this show, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
He actually was going down a deeper descent, because when you meet him in the movie, he's basically at death's door at that point.
Yeah.
And in the show, you actually see him going from just kind of a ho-hum emperor into, oh my God, I need this. Let's try and handle things properly. He goes down the descent role and hole and ends up being like, I need to manipulate the darkening. I need to fulfill my own crystal in my staff. And then I also am starting to have dreams. I'm remembering before we got separated years ago and having nightmares about that and starting to feel bad about things. And then he's like, no, but I don't want to die. I got to preserve my immortality. We all have to preserve our immortality. I don't want to die. And then right up to the very, very end where he goes into final boss mode, he's like, I'm killing everybody.
Killing everybody.
And then they all get basically turned away by Deet at the end. But I like Deet. That was a good character too.
Yeah. I would have liked to known more about her and seen what happened to her next season.
Yeah, that was going to be a big thing because of her visions. She saw herself like completely like filled with like darkness or the darkening, and just sitting in a room all by herself, isolated, full gray, full white, full pasty everything. And then, that could have been very interesting to see what happened next.
I'm hearing Metallica's One in my head.
Darkness imprisoning me. Love that. I actually really like that song. And then Sanitarium wants to start up, so
yeah.
Maybe.
Side note, when they had Guitar Hero Metallica come out on the PS3, when I finally scored 100% on I think it was one. It was either one or Sanitarium. I fucking barreled out my apartment door, fucking swinging my guitar around at my neighbors, all fucking excited, like, I got 100%. I got 100%.
Probably like, dear God, he's nuts.
They were all drinking on the front porch anyway.
Oh, okay. So that checks.
Yeah. So I mean, they actually probably heard me playing. Clickety clack, 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 clack.
They're probably just glad you weren't Ric Flairing it.
Woo!
Helicopter, baby.
Go chase the bear.
The other thing about this show is really good is the music. Absolutely. The soundtrack on this is actually way better than the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's got more to it. It's got there are more emotions in this series than there are in the movie. So I mean, the music spans so much more and covers so much more, and that's a good thing. You want that. You wouldn't want it to be just rehashed of the original.
Right. You need that depth and range when you're going into a TV show, and most things go from TV shows to movies. They don't go in reverse from movies to TV shows. And when they do, it's usually like 30, 40 years later, kind of like this did. But like unlike most of those that do jumps like that, this one was really good. The other one I can only think of is the Sarah Connor Chronicles for Terminator.
Yeah.
I'm not counting any of the Star Trek shows. That's kind of became its own animal. So, so to speak. Got any other thoughts about the show before we get into our episode breakdown?
I don't think so. Other than this is just goddamn exquisite.
Yeah, it's a beautiful show. Extremely well written, well acted. It's one of the best put together shows on Netflix, period. If you like your fantasy shows, and it plays just like the movie does. So if you love the movie, you will absolutely love the show.
This could be the perfect television show. Like, there's no filler. It's very concise. It's just it's brilliant. It's so goddamn brilliant.
Well, yeah, like they tackled this with like pure passion, and like they knew what they wanted to do. They accomplished it, and they refined it to the point of, hey, this is a Netflix caliber show. It almost feels like something that should be on HBO Max due to the high level that this was actually shot, produced, and put together at.
Oh, shit.
That's just my opinion. Although HBO Max might have given this a lot more money.
Maybe, and then shelved it. So no one
Or
could
gave
ever
it one
see
more season and been like, just wrap it up with second season, please.
We'll
But
give
they've
you
also
that.
screwed around with a bunch of shows too, so I can't really say that for certainty about this show.
Yeah, that's true. And Max takes everything away.
I'm still waiting for Deadwood season 4, Carnival season 3 through 6. Yeah, they're a bunch of bastards too, so.
Boner biting bastards.
Yeah. All right. We're going to hit our episode breakdown. These synopses are pretty long, so we'll do that, and we'll hit some bullet points on thoughts and feelings on them. And I caught this for the first time tonight, actually, before we start on this, is all the episode titles are quotes from the original 1982 film. I did not know that. Some of the things sounded familiar, but it wasn't like clicking with me.
So like end, begin, all the same. That's something Aughra said in the movie.
Yeah.
I dig it. Clever minxes.
Okay, let's get started here. Episode 1, End, Begin, all the same. And all of these episodes are directed by Louis Leterrier. You might recognize his name from the Transporter 1 and 2 and the Incredible Hulk.
The good one.
Edward Norton, baby. Although very edited, but whatever. All right. A millennium has passed since Mother Aughra entrusted the Crystal of Truth to the alien Skeksis, who siphon its life force to maintain eternal youth while proclaiming themselves Thraw's rulers. The corrupted Dark Crystal begins to cease giving its energy away with the Skeksis Emperor ordering his scientists to devise an alternative means. Skeptic accidentally learns to use the crystal to siphon other beings' essence for the Skeksis to reinvigorate themselves. Following a suggestion from Skekskill, he abducts the crystal guard Gelfling Mira during her search for an Arathim in the catacombs, resulting in her death as the Skeksis feast on most of her essence. This act is witnessed by Mira's boyfriend Rian, who escapes them. Meanwhile, Princess Brea of Harar uncovers a symbol after questioning the Skeksis' law. Following Harar's tribute to Skek Oak and Skek Lock, Deet of the Groton clan is chosen by the Sanctuary Tree and embarks on a mission to save Thra from being consumed by the darkening, the crystal's corruption. As far as a pilot goes, I want to say this is pretty damn good. It does feel a little slow at the beginning. We're getting used to a bunch of new characters, but it's very well put together. the characters are very likable. I'd actually argue they're a little more likable than the original Jin and Kira from the first movie.
Yes.
Like
Rihanna.
Rian actually works for me.
Yeah. Jin is kind of a bitch. He works, but he's kind of a bitch.
Kind of plain.
Yeah. Rian has a little bit more depth to him, and he has more like bravado and bravery.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's okay. They're two different people. Pussy.
Yeah. Okay. Episode number 2. Nothing is simple anymore. As Agra awakens upon sensing a calamity on Thra, Deet experiences the surface before gaining a traveling companion in the podling Hup. As their journey to Harar, Brea visits Elder... Sorry, a lot of these names are going to make me tongue-tied. Brea visits Elder Kadia of the Sifa clan for helping deciphering the symbol's meaning. Kadia instead attempts to wipe out Brea's memory by having her drink powdered knoll root, only for her to switch the drinks at the last second. I absolutely loved that. That was super fucking funny. Kadia's apprentice Onika offers her services if Brea brings her the Almadra. Almadra's brightest jewel by tomorrow night. Back in the castle, labeled a murderer, Rian uses dream fasting to reveal Mira's death to their friend Gurjin. The two of them resolve to steal the vial of Mira's essence as additional proof of the Skeksis' misdeeds. The two manage to acquire it when the Skentek catches Skeksil stealing it, but the two Skeksis capture Gurjin while Rian escapes with the vial. Skektek reports this to Skekso before Skekskill spins the story so that the scientist is blamed for Rian's escape. The Crystal Guard are sent after Rian, and Skektek is subjected to the eye-gouging peeper beetle as punishment, which was freaking awesome.
Yeah, that was hard to watch. No pun intended.
The crunch of the eyeball was like, oh.
And just the shaking of having that mask or the cage on his head so he can't do anything. You're just kind of like, oh God. Oh, it's Wicker Man all over again. Gross.
Yeah. That was pretty rad. I mean, there are some like somewhat horror-ish elements in this, especially with some body horror. So
yeah. And then when you watch the movie, you don't expect that, and you're kind of like, oh shit, he does have that glowing robot eye.
Yeah,
I'll be damned. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, they actually
so cool.
It's one of those details. Hey, they're explaining why some people look the way they do, and like what the difference was, and how they used to look, and how they used to act, and how they actually used to be friends, and no longer are friends anymore.
Yeah, like.
Like, wow. I never caught that, like, the scientist and, like, the Chamberlain actually at one point were okay with each other, and then they just kind of kept stepping over each other's toes, how the general was initially, like, one way and the other. And even, like, the scientist in Agra at one point comes up as, we used to be friends. And, like, please don't do this. And even the scientist for a split second's like, another place, another time, I would be happy to do something here, but I can't. Yeah. And so that was hey, wait a minute, did that really just happen on their show? Yes, it does. Character development, people. This isn't rocket scientist Hollywood. Look at this show for how to write a goddamn show.
Yeah, right. Speaking of Max,
well, I was watching Max tonight before we came on here. Anyway, episode number 3, What Was Sundered and Undone. Deet and Hup find themselves unwelcome in the Stonewood clan's village, with Hup arrested while defending Deet's honor. That was actually kind of funny. They were picking on her for being a different sort of a gelfling, and, you know, Hup just totally, he has this, like, awakening, like, super focus. Oh, you bastards are messing with the wrong gelfling, and he attacks him with a spoon.
Yep. Stops his drinking.
Yep, he was ready to party down and have a good old time. but Deet is denied from seeing Madra Farah. To appeal for Hup's freedom, Farah and Orden attempt to capture Rian before he escapes them. Rian and Deet encounter each other after nightfall, with the latter inspired by Rian with a scheme to free Hup. Meanwhile, as Skekskill provides Skektek with a Grunic assistance, or Grunak, those are the beings that end up becoming part with the Arathan for the Grathan. Garathan at the end. So, and those are like two creatures with their lips sewed shut. That's actually another really cool creature design. Good job, Brian Froud, who did a fantastic job on this show.
Yeah.
I mean, that is definitely, we didn't mention it earlier, but that is a super highlight of this show was the creature designs. They are all very unique and very fresh and exciting.
Even Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah. She looked pretty close to human form.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, as Skekskill provides Skektek with the assistance, Agra arrives at the castle and confronts the Skeksis who banish her from their domain, but not before she learns of the crystal's corruption. Bria is sent to join the Order of Lesser Services for 1 year as punishment for the diplomatic incident caused by wiping out Kadia's memories. Bria escapes the Order while they are cleaning podlings. The Lesser Services cleans podlings. Encountering Tavra, who reveals that their mother sent her on a mission to retrieve Rian. She then returns to Harar and acquires her mother's brightest jewel for Onika, a Unimoth chrysalis. With Onika's guidance, Brea asks the chrysalis for answers and follows the newly emerged Unimoth to a secret passage beneath her mother's throne. I like the overall mystery and the research going on by Brea. So,
yes, yeah, and that's one of the neat things about Brea is she is the smart one. She makes friends with the librarian, and the librarian has a genuine interest in her because she knows how to read.
Yep.
And you know, I mean, granted, she is cattle. That is food. That is his food, but he's intrigued by the food at this point. But yeah, she was a lot of fun. And then once she got under the throne room, that was where things like really get fun.
Yeah, like the puzzle that's she's confronted with, which ends up becoming more of like the next episode of like, hey, that was a great cliffhanger. Hey, let's go into this room. Hey, what's underneath the throne? Like there's the Unimoth that actually provided a key to the throne and then opened up, which later on her mother doesn't even realize. I never knew that was there. What the hell is this? So that was enjoyable to say the least. And that's a good spot. This is where the show starts to do little cliffhangers for episodes that make you want to watch the next one instead of waiting for it. So this show definitely plays into a binge model.
Yes, it does. But it's a good and easy binge. That's worth noting. Like these episodes don't seem like they're 40 to 50 minutes long, but they are.
Yeah, there's only a couple that are close to about an hour. The rest are about, I think the shortest one was about 47 minutes, and then they hover between 47 to 52 minutes.
Yeah.
And just for giggles, I actually played an episode on 1.5 speed, and I was like, wow, I could actually have watched this whole show at 1.5 speed and still caught everything. But then you don't have things like have the proper emotional impact. So everything's just so rapid fire with the dialogue. You don't have any time for things to breathe. So that's a drawback to, if you want to do that, you can. You're still going to catch the whole show. Otherwise, just play it at normal speed. It's just a few extra minutes every time. All right. Episode number 4. Got 6 more of these, everybody. Please bear with me here. The first thing I remember is fire. Deet frees Hup from the Stonewood clan's dungeon by pretending to be a monster that scares the guards. That was fun. I really enjoyed that.
With the glow moss.
Yeah, with the glow moss. She looked like a total demon. I'm like, that's really rad. If you're not paying attention and all of a sudden you look over and you're just like, what the hell is that? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and just flying from wall to wall was so not creepy, but you could see the guards why they would be scared. Like she was really she was selling it, is what she was doing.
Right.
With the growling and the flying from wall to wall like Spider-Man. It was just cool.
She knew her shit. She knew how to mess around with everybody.
Yeah.
In Harar, Brea attempts to decipher the hidden chamber's riddle before realizing it reveals the Gelfling clan hierarchy to be false, while awakening a stone giant that plays a recording on its body. The voice introduces the giant as Lore, who will guide her to the Circle of the Suns, attracting the attention of Brea's oldest sister, Celadon. Meanwhile, Agra encounters Urva the Archer, who advises her to learn from Thra to restore her connection to the planet. At the same time, the Skeksis banquet in honor turns sour when Skekso replaces Skeksil as his advisor with Skekvar. Yeah. This leads Skeksil to summon Skekmal the Hunter. Awesome fucking character. To retrieve Rian as Skekvar and Skekzok leave to recruit volunteers from the Gelfling tribes. Skekmal finds Rian after he dream-fasted the truth to Tavra, Ordon, Gurgen's sister Naya, and Kylan. Skekmal survives Ordon's sacrificial attempt to stop him with ravenous gobbles, and then runs off with Rian as Deet and Hup watch. So you got another interesting cliffhanger where we lose Rian's dad, and you think the hunter's going to be dead, but he just leaps right out of the goddamn little ravenous pit of gobbles and just snatches Rian, and he's off and running.
Just like Boba Fett from the Sarlacc pit.
Which you never see. You just hear about.
It was in a comic book. It was in an old Marvel comic.
How many people actually read that comic book, though? I watched the movies and never read the comic book. I heard about it after the fact, but
I
should have been in the movie
just because. Like, man, I've got that piece of history that shows it. Oh, cool.
Well, apparently, according to my wife, there's 15 books that this is loosely based off of. They're very thin, very easy to read, and like
15.
Yeah, they're like little novellas, so
Ooh.
they're very short. She said you could actually read about like 3 or 4 of them in a day.
Oh wow, cool.
And she said she doesn't have them. That's probably becoming a present in the near future, so I can probably catch up and read them too. But she does tell me there's a big difference between the books and this is that at the very end, Tavra does not die. Tavra is still alive in the books.
Oh.
So that's kind of an interesting change. So that would have probably kept like book readers on edge. Like, hey, wait a minute, that's not part of the part of the book series. But I love lore. That's one thing I didn't mention earlier. Like, I like that introduction of the stone golem, and that he is a very big protector. And I absolutely adore what they did with him as a character. I felt bad when they actually deactivated him at the end. I would have thought they would have reactivated him so they could still use him.
Lore? Yeah, he was. I don't know if this is the book, but there's something nice on Amazon that's a hardbound book that has the dark crystal embedded into the cover.
I think that's what my wife has. I don't think that's the book. I think that's the illustrated guide.
Okay, yeah.
But I guess they're available like digitally as well.
Oh, cool.
Like they're pretty accessible to find the book series if anybody's interested in that. This is a fun episode. I like this one, especially when she's trying to figure out how to solve the damn puzzle, because she loves puzzles. And she's like, I'm just going to set this down and think about it. And she ends up activating the damn puzzle that solves itself.
Yeah, right. Which looked like a 5 Gum commercial. It was totally cool.
Yeah. Totally fun.
Everything bouncing up off the floor.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Episode 5. Skekskill convinces Skekmal to let him take Rian back to the castle, only for Rian to be saved by Naya and a freed Gurgen, while Tavra remains in the castle. and Harar, Skekvar, and Skekzok gather 7 volunteers under the guise of recruits for a new Aratham rebellion. The Almaldra is convinced by Brea to meet Lore, while Celadon encounters Hup and a disguised Deet who have infiltrated the Citadel. Not so subtle. At the sanctuary tree, Agra eventually realizes she must listen to Thra to hear its song again and succeeds with Rian's group, the Almadra, Bria, Deet, and Celadon all ending up in the dream space while dream fasting. While forced to send Celadon back to the physical world due to her blind faith in the Skeksis, Agra reveals their actions against Thra and rallies the gathered Gelflings to stop them. The Almadra confronts Skeksis and is killed by Skekvar, with the bereaved Celadon allowing the Skeksis to take the traitors away as her first decree as the new Almadra.
Kind of a bitch.
Yep, she went dark side, everybody. She basically blames her sisters for, well, basically, yeah, she basically blames Bria for killing her mom and just totally takes that as, I'm next in line anyway. You caused all this problems and all these issues. I don't believe any of you for a minute. They are lords, they are saviors, they're gods. We must keep the natural order of things. And everybody's just being like, what the hell? What are you doing over there, bitch? And she just doesn't care. She's angry she lost her mom, and she's eager to blame everybody else.
Yeah, and her faith is the only thing that she has to hold on to.
Yep.
And when it's shaken, it's broken, and she can't stand up without that faith in the Skeksis. So when she gets her comeuppance later on from them, or when they turn on her, like Lordy, that just kind of takes the wind out of her sails, breaks the stilts under her feet. Like she's finally on the ground with her other sisters.
Yeah, she gets knocked off of her pedestal, so to speak, later on. Like
Yeah.
her arrogance and her consumption for power and love and recognition from her mom just totally drove her completely crazy in the minute that her mom died.
Yeah.
So it's a very powerful episode. There's so much good character development throughout, and that's just another one. And this also reminds me to bring up dream fasting. Like, you get a little bit of that from the movie. They really use that a lot here in the show. And they actually try to evolve it a little bit, where they actually bring multiple people into a dream space. And I thought that was pretty unique and interesting, so that Agra could tell them the total truth about what's going on.
That's their version of social media groups.
Yeah, also known as probably Twitter or X.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Number 6, by Gelfling Hand. Skekbar and Skekzok are impeded by Rian's group while en route to the castle, losing their prisoners when Lore catches up to their carriage. Love that scene. He totally rips the door off and and sends everybody packing.
Lore's awesome.
Yeah, I liked his movements too, especially when he was going through narrow passages. His stones would separate and then they'd rejoin after that.
Yes.
That was rad.
I love his pointed finger too.
Oh yeah, that he would also use on his arm, because his like left arm had a bunch of lines, and it would play like a vinyl record. So it'd be like a needle on that, so you could actually play the recordings.
Yes, sir.
That was neat.
Looked like the wax cylinders from gramophones.
Yes. There you go. That's a little bit better description. Yeah.
It's because I watched Ghostbusters.
Good man. Good man. I need to do a rewatch of that soon too. Okay. Rian convinces the Paladins to spread the world of Skeksis' misdeeds. The Crystal Guard stages a rebellion that is swiftly put down. They are caged, drained, with Tavra among the captured. The Skeksis decide to attack Stone in the Wood after an astonished Skek Sill returns and reveals the Stonewood clan have turned on them. Irva learns the truth from Agra that his destiny is to confront Skek Mel, who defeat whose defeat requires a sacrifice, and hurrah, after sending the living crown pieces to the other Madras together for her coronation and cremation of her mother for treason, Celadon finds herself challenged by Farah for the All-Madra title. And for curious fans out there, Farah is voiced by Lena Headey, so
Yes.
very effectively. Celadon responds by renouncing the living crown and donning the Skeksis-inspired regalia, while declaring herself All-Madra by the Skeksis' will. Farah and Lacid leave while the others bow to her. At the Crystal Sea, after a night of mourning, Rianne's group are met by a Dowson clan named Raker, who takes Rianne, Deet, Bria, and Hup to the Circle of Suns, while the others leave to rally their clans. So we're finally at basically the Crystal Desert, which is totally cool. Love the design on that. And this was a very poignant episode. You got to feel like everybody was saying goodbye to the Almadra in their own certain ways. But man, Celadon just decided, no, we ain't gonna get my mom rights. We're just gonna burn her. Like,
She's not.
Damn, lady.
She's not going back to Thra. She's just going to cease to be.
Yep, because she's a traitor.
That was fucked up. Now, question: when they did that little, like, I don't want to call it a spell, but when they put God, I can't think of her name. Put the princess's memory of her mom in that bauble and sent it flying away.
Yeah.
Did that do something for the mom's soul, or like
no?
Oh, okay.
It just ensured that her memory would be shared and the feelings for her would be shared, because they had no idea what was going to happen to her remains. They wanted to go back, give her proper rights, but they felt like it's too late to go back now and ensure that happens. So
yeah,
that was their way of making sure there was a little bit of a memorial out there. And that's what ended up getting to Raykar and finding them and being like, hey, we're out here. You guys need some help. We found your memorial. We're sorry about your loss. What can we do to help you? And then so they get a transport across the desert, which is totally rad. I would totally ride on that thing, even though I hate heights like that.
Yeah, but that thing wasn't going anywhere. Hell no, it was cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just reminded me a little bit of like God of War with like the flying creatures in there.
Oh, the harpies?
No, well, maybe it's more Darksiders. I was thinking more modern.
Oh,
War.
Oh yes.
But I really like the episode. Good design on Crystal Desert, and I love the tower when they get there too. That's super rad.
Yes, it's pretty.
Which they get there in the next episode. And let's see here. Did I have any thought? I feel like I wrote down episode number 6 that we were just talking about here was probably the big pivot point for the show, because you're now at the midway point, and this is now the second half of the season, and they hit the ground running. Like they put you at an appropriate spot to, all right, here's your chance to catch your breath, because from here on out, this is what we're doing. We're going full bore to the end.
Yeah, and it's a fight from now until the final season or the final episode.
No kidding.
Like they're just gathering themselves, rallying, and they go.
It's relentless, just about.
Yeah.
I actually really like that they constructed the season like they did. Like you get the first few episodes as build up, and then you get moving. Then you really get, it's like it keeps going up gears the more you get into the season. So it's like a total acceleration point. And at no point does it feel slow, as we've mentioned a few times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like being on a roller coaster. It takes a bit to get up, and then once it does, you're going for a ride.
Hell yeah. And the ride continues with episode number 7, Time to Make My Move.
Whoopee. Oh.
I keep wanting to say Ryan. It's Rianne's group reaches the Circle of Suns, where they encounter a Skeksis named, I'm not reading that name, the Heretic, and his mystic counterpart, Ergo the Wanderer. The The heretic and the wanderer gradually reveal their race's origins as the splintered Urskex, with the darkening a byproduct of the crystal's corruption. I loved their little skit that they put together because it was totally old school kind of puppetry. They did like nothing super fancy with it, but I liked how they were able to integrate some more older school and practical ways to tell that story.
And how meta of a joke is that? Like,
Yeah.
it's your puppetry. Oh God,
It's
nobody
a puppet
likes
show. Oh God. We're gonna tell this story with puppets. It's like, that's funny.
that. Killed me.
But then they broke out into opera, and I'm like, oh my God, I was dying laughing, especially at the very end because Deet's just like, yay, that was great. And everybody else is like, oh, it's done. It's like they woke up from like an hour-long nap.
The Wanderer's just sitting there.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Shit's just perfect. I love it.
Yeah, there's such nice subtle touches to this. It's like that's how you make things work. Okay. And they announced their desire to merge back into their unified form and need the Gelflings' help in using the dual glaive, a legendary weapon to end the Skeksis rule. Before Rian's group can set out to the caves of Grot where the dual glaive is located, they are attacked by the hunter who escapes with Bria after being mortally wounded by his mystic counterpart. Meanwhile, keeping secret the fact that the caves have been compromised by the Darkening, Skekso wins the Arathim's Ascendancy services by giving them back their ancestral home. They help put down the Stonewood Gelflings. The Ascendancy requests Tavra as a host for their mind-controlling Arathim, which take over the Stonewood as they are preparing for battle and have them march to the castle.
That was cool.
This whole episode was rad, man.
The Gelfling expected a fight, but there was no fight. That was just damn cool.
It was like, nah, well, you just got your ass whooped by a bunch of little bugs.
Everybody get on the bus. On the bus.
Yep. You've all been, you got your wrist straps, you got your IDs. All right. You can start drinking once you get to the castle. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Party bus.
Yeah, that sucked for them. They were all just rallied up. And like, it's all like, it's all reference to like the Holocaust and stuff like that. So it's really kind of scary to see just how quickly and how easily Stone in the Wood is rallied up, corralled, and then disposed of. You're just kind of like, fuck. And then they're really heartless about it because they refer to all the Gelfling as their cattle. And then now it's just time to, harvest the crop.
Pretty much.
And you're like, oh, y'all, that's not the way fucking cattle works. Like, you still have to have some left over for next season.
Yeah, this is where, as like villains, they did not plan very far ahead. There's just the second, hey, this is how we can get our next fix. It's like, no, let's just fucking get to it. It reminds me of a little of like Blade.
Yeah, like, let's fix this now, and we'll worry about how to get more later. But let's just get this now. Like, it's not a good plan. It's not a good plan at all.
Bunch of druggies.
They were, but they were the id of their body.
Yeah.
They had no self-control. They just kept eating and eating.
Oh yeah, because as you get along with their show, when you first meet the Skeksis, they eat properly at tables, well, relatively properly. But as you get along into their show, like the more disastrous their place looks, the more in disarray it looks, the more violent they eat their food it looks, the gnarlier they get looks. It's like this complete like decay, and it just totally works for what they're doing and what their path they're going down. So
yeah.
Okay, keep on moving here into episode number 8. Prophets don't know everything. You don't know everything, Kevin?
Don't I?
No. Rian and Deet travel through the breath of Thra, thermal vents from the planet's core to reach the caves of Grot to find the dual glaive, but but find the caves have been taken over by the Arathan, with Deet's family and Madra Argo among those under the control. When the Aratham are attacked by the Berserk Nurlock, those were cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
That was just kind of neat to show. If you considered the darkening like radiation, of course the worms are going to eat it first, and then it spreads from them to the vegetation to everything else. And it's like they displayed that really, really well with the big worm. I can't think what they were called.
Nurlock,
yeah.
Okay. Attacked. Rian and Deet reveal to the Aratham that the Skeksis tricked them. They convince the Ascendancy to join them against the Skeksis while getting them and Deet's family to the surface. Before the Nurlock destroy it, the Sanctuary Tree gives Deet the power to extract the darkening from others. Meanwhile, after ignoring Agra's attempt to reason with her, Celadon travels to the castle to beseech the Skeksis for mercy to the Stonewood, but she instead learns the truth from Skeksis themselves and is captured as a mortally wounded. Skekmal returns to the castle with Breya. The Skeksis panic as Skekso orders for the hunter's life to be saved at any cost, and Agra states that she now knows what she must do.
That was intense.
Yeah, that escalated quickly in this episode.
Man, just the things that they were doing, trying to get that cadaver to move again and live. That was just damn cool.
Yeah, that was like watching like Dr. Frankenstein being like, I need to make this live again.
Yeah, because again, the Emperor points out, one, that's one of their own. He didn't want any of them to be missing. But like if anyone found out that one of the Skeksis could be killed, they wouldn't be feared anymore. They would lose the power of fear. And so he couldn't have that. And fucking A, like he really meant it. Like if he dies, you die. Everything dies. I'll kill you myself.
Yeah, that's also where he was revealing like the truth about like his nightmares and everything going on too. So, and the general was there, and he's like, I sometimes wonder about that too. So there's some interesting moments for characters for sure, but I really liked at the very end that's the next episode. God damn it. But no, I really like this one too. The Sanctuary Tree dying is what kind of got me in this particular episode though.
Mighty Deku Tree.
I know. It dead now.
Oh shit. Now I gotta go play Zelda.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Episode 9, The Crystal Calls. Rian and Deet acquire one half of the dual glaive from Madra Argo, who hid it within her walking stick. That was fucking funny, dude. I swear to God, I cracked up at that. Oh, you're looking for the dual glaive? Starts smashing her thing. I've been carrying this around for years, waiting for somebody to ask me for it. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like you want to say that's lazy writing, but
it's not.
Yeah, like what it okay, sure.
It kind of fits because that lady was crazy.
Yeah, she really was. And but she wasn't at the same time. Like that was the coolest part about her. Like where Deet's dad was trying to explain to her trees don't talk. And then the Madra goes, until they do.
Yep.
All right, what did it say? You're just like, wow, that changed, that shifted.
Yep. Throwaway lines that really aren't throwaway lines.
Yeah, and that whole persona of insanity or dementia is just gone at that point. And then she's being very attentive to what Deet was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then she does eventually make the comment of, "I really like that walking stick. Damn it." Okay, they learned that Ordon, who was Rian's dad, had hidden the other half at the Stone in the Woods crucible, the other part of the dual glaive that they split apart. At the castle, Skekok suggests having the other Skeksis recalled to the castle. Agra offers her essence to revive the hunter in exchange for the captive Gelfling's freedom, including all three sisters. The Emperor accepts. He orders the hunter to kill the prisoners before they leave, though. Now permanently joined with the Ascendancy, Tevra reveals the Aratham Gelfling alliance and injures Skekvar before being fatally wounded by Skekskill. He wins Skekvar's loyalty by giving him a vial of essence to heal himself. When it appears Agra's essence was not enough to prevent Skekmal's death, Skekskill proposes to the other Skekskis that they should create an obedient army from Aratham corpses. Tavra later dies in the presence of her sisters. Rian reunites the dual glaive and issues a call to arms, calling all Gelflings to meet at Stone in the Wood. Hearing through the crystal and threatening retaliation, Skeksko orders an attack at dawn to stop the rebellion before it can even begin.
And that was cool. They went in there with swords and blades and shit, like rotating blades, to just go in and they were just going to exterminate everybody, just slash and stab and stack. Like, it's nasty.
Everybody dies.
Yeah, they intended to just commit genocide. And
for whoever was there.
Yeah, and then harvest what they could.
Yeah, pretty much. I love their armor and how they armored everybody up. That was really neat. And then when the scientist was like, "I'm ready to get into a fight too," and the Emperor's like, "No," and the general just started beating on him, busting his balls, being like, "You a fighter? Come on, you ain't even seen a fight in like 1,000 years. Who do you think you are?"
That sucked because they're basically calling him a nerd.
Yeah, a little bitch. No, you stay behind. You keep an eye on the castle while we do all the hard work around here. It was almost like a bunch of jocks while they were like, "No, you towel boy, you stay in the locker room while we actually go play the game."
Even Aquafina got to go.
Yep. Good job, Aquafina. We knew you could do it.
Yeah, you got pustules.
Yeah, you got to pop them a little more, though. God. Ugh. Although she had a headshot on her. She got smoked.
Yes.
That was great. I love that. Let's see. Was there anything else I had on this? Agra vanishes. You kind of wonder if she's dead. She's really not. And you also think that the hunter is dead, and he's really not. Because the hand starts twitching, and then they kind of bring him back to life.
They string him up like a marionette. How fucked up is that?
I would have woken up and been like furious, like, what is going on here? Instead, he was more like, "Where's Rian?" Turns the scientist like, "You chicken, you stay here, like you ain't worth nothing, you coward." And then he just flees out of the castle like a badass.
Meanwhile, the scientist is like, "But I wanted to go."
The Emperor told me to stay behind. And he's probably thinking like, "Sure he did." Chicken. Coward.
Bushy.
Oh, let's see here. And the final episode, a single piece was lost. Rian and Deed are joined by Bria's group while waiting for the other clan's arrival. Skeksko calls upon the Darkening before leading the Skeksis to battle and ordering Skektek to remain at the castle to work on the new army. Once the Skeksis arrive, It's getting to me. Skekskill sets up Skekvar to fail in a duel with Rian and covertly kills him as the battle commences. The hunter is revealed to be alive. I think that was a little more tipped off in episode 9 than this one. But he comes alive here and shatters the dual glaive, only to be killed for good when Urva jumps off the cliff of the Circle of Suns, causing Agra to be reconstituted out of his crumbling body. While events in the Stonewood unfold, Skektek kills the rebelling Grunax in a moment of frustrated rage because they were trying to escape and get their freedom as promised. When the other clans arrive, Skeksko unleashes the Darkening, and which Deet rebounds to kill Skelak. Hi, Aquafina. While the other Skeksis retreat, as Bria finds the lost shard of the crystal and the Duoglave's broken hilt, Deet leaves the group in fear of her power, and inspired Skektek then grafts one of the dead Grunax with the Arathan corpse, with the Skeksis introduced to the newly animated Carthon. Final episode ended awesomely.
Yeah, it was a big fight. There was a win, there was a loss. You can't say there was a cliffhanger necessarily. There wasn't.
It was conclusive enough and left enough open if they were going to continue with another season.
Yes. Yeah, like you walk away feeling pretty satisfied, especially if you go watch the movie after this.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, that was a journey. You just went on a journey with this TV show and this movie. And it sucks because you start with all these wonderful creatures at the beginning, and by the time you get to the end, there's only 2.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely feel the sense of loss along with this show, and it touches you. It's very compelling.
Yes, it is, but you can't. For as much as you like, it sounds masochistic to watch something where it's like everybody dies. But again, you don't see everybody die.
Some are off screen, some are not.
Yeah. Some happen later on, but it's really so good, and you can't look away. You don't want to not watch. You want to find out what happens.
Yeah.
And it's just, this is special. This was a special show, and Netflix really fucked up by canceling it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what else to say other than that was one of the dumbest decisions they've ever made. They've messed around with a lot of shows that deserved a little bit better, or at least another chance to try to capture that audience. Yes, you could say that this is a niche show and the production budget was high. When you're saying like you're giving all this money to Zack Snyder to do Rebel Moon, and well, you might be getting your watch time, you're not getting subs for it. And you talk like the Acolyte and all that budget. You talk about all these shows and their crazy budgets. This was $100 million show. It certainly looked like it. It certainly felt like it. It felt like they got their money's worth out of it. Sometimes you just got to give a show a chance to develop its audience.
Yeah.
Like Farscape started off good, but it had better ratings as the show went along. You got to get the word of mouth out there. Their show was starting to catch on with people. I think it could have been a bigger deal if they had allowed it to give it a chance. I would have liked one more season, but to be frank, the fact that we even got one awesome season out of this, and it ties in with the movie, and it doesn't feel like too much is missing. It's just you want more. And that's always good to have. But there's not that much missing between the show and the movie to make you feel like there's clearly a big section of time and story here that's missing. But based on what you just got between that and the movie, it's a pretty solid entry, and I can't knock on this. I actually really love this show. I would give this a very solid 9 out of 10 on this. I'd knock it a point off only because of I want more. And I don't blame the show for that. I blame Netflix.
Yeah.
So Netflix score is 9. The show in and of itself, it would be damn near 10, if not 10.
I'd give this a 10. This is probably the best thing, the most concise thing we've ever watched.
Yeah, for our nostalgia TV, for our podcast, everything. We love Ash versus Evil Dead seasons 1 and 2. Season 3 is kind of to us, and we consider seasons 1 and 2 pretty damn flawless too. And I'd say this is probably the next best show. I mean, I would argue a couple other shows are right up there too, but like overall, this is one of the most beautiful, well done shows we've ever done on here.
Agreed. Agreed. And I wish more people would be more receptive to seeing features with puppets, because man, it's a beautiful world that they create.
Yeah, Henson does amazing work. And if you like this show, if you're into space-based science fiction, I would tell you to go watch Farscape, because they use puppetry in a very similar way, but there's more human beings and humanoid aliens in that as well. So there's a mix of a little bit of everything. It's a little more labyrinthine style, as far as like there's some humans, there's some creatures, there's some kind of in between things. But I'd encourage everybody to go watch. If you have Netflix right now, go give this show a chance. It's not going to do anything as far as numbers or getting another season. It's just not going to happen. But it's worth a watch. But I'm also, after we are done with this show, I'm going to be looking to procure a copy by other means. So
Yay.
that, and I am going to be looking up the soundtrack, which they did release an official soundtrack for this show.
Nice.
I would ask you like what you would think they would do in the second season, but they could have done whatever as far as I was concerned.
Kill everyone else.
Kill more Skekskis.
More skeets.
More skeets. But Kevin, got any other final thoughts before we say goodnight to everybody?
No, just thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for watching along with us. Like this was a cool ass show. Really glad we got to do this one. I will revisit this show. Like you said, this is one that I'll add to the physical media collection, just because it's damn beautiful.
Yeah, gorgeous, well written, well directed, well acted. Everything's just amazing in this show. And yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in for our show. Thank you for putting up with my synopsis read. There's a lot of skek this and skek that and
skeet
me tongue twisters galore, but hey, I was having fun. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button down below. Hey, and if you are watching this on a replay, put a comment down below. If you got any fun memories about this show, any comments, anything you think we should have covered that we didn't, hey, put them down below. We do interact with our comments. We absolutely want you on board. So also hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the little bell notification so you can stay tuned to all of our video content. And we will see you all on the next one. And Kevin, you want to tell everybody what we're doing for our next Forgotten Television Show Nostalgia TV entry?
We are doing Lois and Clark, the new Adventures of Superman.
Dean Cain, Terry Hatcher one, everybody. Not the most recent one that was on CW, but I think that was called Superman and Lois or something like that.
Yeah, that was Superman and Lois.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's what we... Oh, go ahead.
This is the 1990s superhero TV show that we had that was... I want to say it was much better than what we'd had previously on TV for Superman, but I don't remember. We'll see. I have fond memories of it.
Oh, and Bruce Campbell, watch everybody. He's in that show too, as well as Ted Raimi.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely be highlighting that. So thank you everybody for tuning in. See you next time.
Bastards are gonna own me.
Papa's getting wasted tonight.
I am completely out of ammo.
Cross my heart, smack me dead, stick a lobster on my head.